it's not the easiest of Jug games up against the PA. Obviously, there's so many ways to just kind of blink away. You've got the blur there, and the natural evasion that's going to make it very, very hard for this Jug to actually get the hits off. And naturally, Gabby will probably also go for an MKB rush on this hero, but do you like it up against this PA pickup? Even the Shadow Demon pickup could make it very hard.
I mean, I can see the mindset behind TNC going for this, right? Like, you've got the spin to get out of Mars. In fact, almost every single piece of control from T1's taken out, except for that Demonic Purge you mentioned on the Shadow Demon. Jug into PA is an interesting one. I'd say Jug is actually okay into PA. Like, you're not going to be very strong early, but the tendency is cores just farm up anyway. So expect Gabby to play a longer game here. Curious if he'll go for the same build though. Mask of Madness into MKB doesn't sound half bad, but I think I'd prefer a Battle Fury build overall, just because it allows you to flash farm a bit faster. The MKB is definitely necessary here against the PA. I wouldn't say it's too bad for the Jug, actually. I'd say it's pretty darn good. If T1 plays a fast PA game, say just rush the Desolator first without a Battle Fury, go for a much more aggressive build, maybe it's going to be tough for the Jug to stand and fight against that, but you have to consider that Blur Evasion was nerfed down as well by 5% max. So it's still not as durable as it once was as well if you are playing fast. And Jug is just a natural MKB player, so I don't think it's too much of an issue. What I am worried about is if T1 sneaks a last pick that can kind of control that. We're still waiting for a big Carl hero to come out here. And if they find the right one, they can start to punish. I'm not sure what's left, though, that will allow them. I suppose something highly mobile, considering that the lockdown of TNC isn't that reliable in this game. So you might see maybe the Puck. That was banned by Queen of Pain. One of the spirits, Ember Spirit, would be okay as well, zipping in and out here, just to tie into team fights. You don't really need to worry about Rupture all too often with their invulnerability state and mobility. Maybe even a Storm Spirit if you wanted to. That might be greedy with PA, though, but it's a possibility there for T1.
Right. Final ban out, though, T1. They are banning out what appears to be mid-heroes right now, just getting rid of the Puck themselves. 15 seconds reserve time left, so there's not really much time to think about this last ban out. And it'll be the Snapfire, so they just want to make sure there's no kind of shenanigans here from TNC. Suppose the Snap would have been very nice because it's a bit of a flex pick, because you can run it as the 4 or run it in the mid lane. And TNC will finish it off with a Tiny, so you still don't necessarily know who's going to be playing that mid lane and who's going to be playing that pos 4 role in terms of the Void Spirit Tiny. It does appear that it should be the Void Spirit mid and the 4 Tiny, I would argue, but it could go either way. It is kind of hard to tell for now.
Yeah, it's really open for TNC. We've seen Armel play the Tiny. That has also been a while, almost as long as we've seen Tim's Void Spirit, but it's something TNC's done before, and we know that it still gets some really decent power spikes. Of course, you've got this nice combination coming out, Mike. Rupture with Toss, always fun to watch.
Ooh.
T1 go with a cheeky CK close, so it looks like we're seeing the Karl Mars mid and the Cuckoo off CK, so it looks like the game plan is to crash some PCs.
Absolutely. I'd have it no other way, John. Because this CK does seem very valuable this game as well, right? Like, you look at Gabby, the Omni Slash, obviously you'd like as least units as possible around you when you do commit that Omni. The CK going to make it very, very difficult. Very dominant in the laning phase as well, that CK. Doesn't really struggle to last hit. Has such a high kind of base attack. You can't really kill him that easily either. And, well, we'll see what they can get done. T1, they need to win this game number 2 to be able to make it through this lower bracket final, or try to make it to a game 3 at least. TNC 1 game away from making it through to the lower bracket final, and they can make it to the grand final if they win this game too. Of course, Team Dog is going to be waiting around, and let's see how it all pans out. And of course, by the way, Tim's Tiny, Void Spirit in the mid lane for Armel, fair enough. My question still stands though, do they have enough to deal with this CK, assuming Cuckoo does go for the Ags upgrade?
They've got decent clear with, say, even just Avalanche plus Bloodright. I'd say Gabby now definitely might really just want to go Battle Fury Rush on the Jug. Battle Fury into MKB sounds a bit awkward, but I think that's the way to go, unless you want to go for a Manta style first afterwards. Still, as the game goes on, I reckon the Jug is going to be enough. but early on it's a very awkward timing, right? Like it depends on how fast Cuckoo can actually farm up that Ags on the CK. What timings we'll see on that, if they're going to play super aggressive with it, how long they have to stall out here for Jackie this time around. Uh, his timings have basically been almost the same on any core. Jackie's just very comfy playing, taking his time, farming up. So we'll see if TNC will get to punish that once more. But I think T1 are pressured to play a bit of a faster game. Like play with this really fast timing on the Ags, snowball with the Ags, try to play with the arena setups that Carl will give you here, and go from there. TNC, they've got some good scaling with their Jug, although we've seen that fall flat for T1 themselves. We'll have to see if Gabby can maintain a net worth lead here, and then you're sort of comfy with no matter what happens. There is a bit of a timer as well where Tims has to rush his blink. So the blink timing for Tims on the Tiny is going to be extra important. It really allows them to get the setup, and in fact that's their main way of initiation beyond Armel jumping in on his Void Spirit. Tims is his only backup with a blink, so they're going to have to work that up, and it looks like we've got a bit of a toilet break here.
Nothing wrong with a bit of a toilet break, John. Everyone needs a bit of a toilet break once in a while. Though I must say, it is quite difficult to go when you are wearing a full Santa suit, John. So I'm kind of stuck just tanking it. And I'll tell you what, this may not have been the smartest idea, because it's we're in the middle of Australian summer right now, and this suit does tend to have multiple layers of very thick cloth. So you know, we kind of talked about it before the game started, John. I did confirm that I would be going with this costume literally the whole grand final. And that's what we're doing. We're not giving up, John. Doesn't matter how hot it gets.
Nope. You are a man of your word, Mike. Gonna stick true to it, and it looks like Carl is done. So
That was
well
quick.
played to Carl.
Yeah.
He's ready.
He's been practicing. Very quick stuff from Carl.
Should be fun to see how these lanes unfold. The Mars mid, you know, it's actually been a while since we've seen, at least in the games we've covered, where Mars has gone mid. We haven't seen it since groups. We didn't see it at all in groups for us. So Carl should still hold steady. I think the value changes on Mars do make it slightly weird, but it's overall still the same kit. You're still probably going to look for the same timings on your Blink, on your Yules. And it looks like Carl is already sort of preemptively queuing up that Yules on hand. He knows what he wants to go for. He knows what setup he wants. Of course, with the Mars mid, that does mean you're not getting the Shadow Demon Mars combination, as Zephyr is not going to be camping that mid. So any sort of early aggression you can expect with Disruption Spear isn't there. We'll just have to see if Zephyr Cuckoo on the Shadow Demon and CK can get the same aggression out with this duo.
Let's see how it all does pan out. The Banner Runes are set to spawn in about 30 seconds from now. Well, for now, TNC, they don't seem to be very interested in trying to contest the bottom ones. They are just going to sit back and take it easy while T1 take those bottom bounties. Of course, they are going to be able to get the top bounty runes, so it's not too big of a deal for TNC. It's a very even trade once again for this game number 2. See how it does pan out. KP, of course, up at the top lane of the Bloodseeker is going to be there with Tims on the Tiny. They are going to be up against the Jackie PA. In terms of kill potential, John, I mean, there is definitely kill potential there if you do get a nice Avalanche toss back into the Blood Right. That being said, though, when you've got an Undying to back you up as the PA, once you've got Soul Rip, it can be quite difficult to get through the HP pool of the Phantom Assassin.
Yeah, I'd say Whitemon, once he hits level 3, going 1-2 on his spell build is just going to make that lane harder, although...
Yeah, nice little toss back, but Whitemon, he's going to avoid it.
Yeah, it's going to be a steady lane. KP, of course, usual build is Thirst at level 2 just to hold the lane. Not going to see any sort of amplification with Blood Rage. Honestly, I feel like Blood Rage has been sort of underutilized. Say you've got this Tiny, you got an Avalanche Toss combo with Blood Rage up with a spell amp, you're going to do a lot of damage, but it's not a priority for a lot of teams. We'll see if that's going to hold steady here, but it should be. You've got Tims already getting a pull off, so he's going to find his level 2. Something TNC really likes to do. They prioritize Tims' early levels. KP ends up having a bit of a harder time, but he is harassing Jackie out fairly well as well.
That he is. Of course, in the mid lane, we should have a look at the other lanes while we still have a chance. You've got Carl up against Armel. Now, Mel doing a pretty darn good job already. He's been dishing out a lot of harassment onto the Mars. And of course, you just saw he went for that Observer Ward and ended up picking it up quite quickly. So Armel getting some bonus gold and XP for himself by taking out that ward. And Carl, he's enjoying himself in terms of farm on this Mars. In terms of trying to slow Armel down at all, it does not look like they're really going to be able to achieve that with this Mars pickup. So it is going to be a much more kind of even trading lane, it seems.
Yeah, it's just going to be a steady farming lane for both sides until you see level 6 come in. No big kill potential. Maybe a support could come true and set up. In that case, I'd say Zephyr is the one to look out for Carl, and for Armel, it has to be Tim's. But the supports are fairly busy. It's going to be just farming and exchanging there. We'll see if that changes anytime soon. Power runes should be sort of important, but not the most pertinent for either side, as it is just steady farming. We'll see if these supports can come through and help them with that. You look down bot. Zephyr is hanging around with Cuckoo. It's the Shadow Demon plus the CK lane. They are up against Gabby on the Jug, and you've got Febby around on the Enchantress to help out. So far, been a steady lane for Gabby. Last hits are looking fairly clean. Cuckoo is not too far behind, but overall, rather even laning start for both sides. Probably waiting for some level spikes. You do have level 3 up in Gabby. He could try to go for spin plays, but you don't really have the best of tools from Febby so far. He does have a nice troll creep with the ensnare. So if they get to cap close out and get the spin through, it could be a kill, but you have to watch out for that disruption.
That you do. A lot of harassment out from Febby. Of course, the Enchantress just such a lane-dominant style of hero. Very, very hard to lane up against that hero at any stage with any hero. It's mid lane. You look back, Armel still having a great old time. Carl still remaining very low in terms of HP. Of course, those power runes, I mean, you already brought this up earlier, but it is going to be very, very impactful for either mid laner to be able to pick up that first power rune, especially depending what it is. And, we'll both have empty bottles right now, so both are kind of desperate for it. I haven't seen the supports rotating quite yet, but it does seem as though TNC are bringing Febby over, and you even see Tim's on the Tiny moving up towards that top rune spot. And thus far, only one from T1 is coming in, and that's going to be down at the bot rune spot where Zephyr is going to be around. Mel getting very lucky. A DD rune of all things being picked up. Even gets a salve off his support Enchantress, and well, with that, I mean, with the TD, you could pretty much claim that Armel has won the mid lane.
Yep, he should be able to have a good time here last sitting. Carl is just going to be forced to watch for a bit as that rune fades out. This is really down to the fact that TNC's invested a lot. Like, they've got those 2 wards, watching the rune spots as well. They got their supports out a little bit better. Whitemon was tied up top, so they are putting a lot of emphasis on getting this Void Spirit online. And Armel should be able to deliver. Of course, you are giving Jackie some space up top, but it's still not that steady for him.
Well, Whitemon could be in big danger here. He's been silenced up by that Blood Rider. The toss in. Whitemon still going to be able to get the Soul Reap off in time. But he's dropping very low. Tim's there to block him off for a second, and KB is able to pick up the first blood. And that's very unfortunate for T1 as Cuckoo. He was just a second away from being able to get that bonus gold himself on the CK as he does kill off Febby. Unfortunately for him, though, it does seem as though KB is able to pick up the first blood gold first.
Still going.
Cuckoo. Yeah, he's been enchanted up. Gabby just going to go back onto Zephyr as the disruption was there anyway. He preemptively thought, I better just not waste my time on this CK, but now Cuckoo coming back in for the fight. Avalanche, however, going to be there from Tim's. He has a mango for the toss in, and with that impetus shot, it is going to be enough to take down the CK. In fact, Febby seeing if he can get lucky with the Shadow Demon, but Zephyr is going to be able to back off in time. TNC will pick up their second kill of the game.
Yeah, just a good amount of gold going in from TNC. Really good aggression here from Tim, seeing the opportunity to TP in, finding kills across the map, and just setting up. They might even find more, camping out those runes.
Well, Carl gets this one. Haste Rune up on the Mars. He does not connect the Spear on the Enchantress, but he does end up getting Tims on the Tiny, and that's even better. But the Avalanche Toss is going to fly through. With that haste, he's going to try and make a run for it. Carl should be fine to get away as Armel. He'll go on to Zephyr instead, and they do end up getting the Shadow Demon, but now Febi's going to go down, and Carl is still just kind of taunting them as he runs around in circles. Armel still trying to fight this one out, goes for an Astral Step. Carl might just drop here, and he does. Armel able to get the kill. Carl sticking around a bit too long, and even with that haste rune, it just wasn't going to be enough up against the Void Spirit of Armel.
That is such a big loss. They waste so much time in that power rune. They managed to find one pickup. You trade the bigger hero away, and for Armel, this was a lane that he was already winning. He's just winning even harder now. Hits level 7 now, just having a lot of impact with his steps. T1 have to be pretty cautious. Their lineup, I mean, Carl can fight early, but you are waiting for everyone else to be online, and
he's gone back in. They have Febi around to help out. With that Alpha Wolf, he's actually amplifying quite a bit of damage here. But Armel is out of Astral Step. Still, they have another kill out with the Resonant Pulse, and well, for some reason, Cuckoo gets the tip. I feel like that may have been a bit of a misclick from Armel, but it won't matter. Cuckoo, he's going to enjoy the free Dota Plus shots. Very nice stuff.
And Armel's going to enjoy that kill as well. He gets to climb up. They're keeping Carl pinned down. He's going to be their major, initiator early on. He's going to be the major team fighter early on for the side of T1. And Carl is forced to smoke to walk back in lane because he has no TP. You never like that feeling as a core, having to smoke out, waste that timed resource just to get back in, but you have no choice. And look at TNC. Look what Febi's doing. He's just disrupting these camps in the triangle, getting some stacks away. He scouts out the stacks as well, so it's not going to be a free ride here for T1. And we saw TNC do the same thing in game 1. They had early triangle wards, keeping track of where Jackie would want to farm, and down the line, they contest that farm.
Absolutely. Zephyr. He's spotted there, Febi. Start with the impetus shots, but Cuckoo is going to rotate on the CK, and that should mean a dead Febi. And there's no way he gets out of this one. He gets crit to death by Cuckoo. Nice little pickup there from T1. Still say TNC is sitting very happy right now. I mean, even look over to Gabby on the Jug. His farm's not the best, but he is going for that Battle Fury build-up, which does mean that he is set to escalate pretty quick once he does have that up. Thing is, Jackie is going for the exact same thing, so it is going to be one of those standard kind of pos 1 farming games between the two. In game 1, though, that did end up favoring Gabby. And as I say that, Cuckoo actually ends up going down at the bot lane. Armel, with the rotation out, does kill off the CK.
Yeah, just setting up for Gabby again, helping him get that initial farm into his Battle Fury. And Gabby was a bit behind Cuckoo earlier, kind of corrects itself now. Not too far behind Jackie. I'd say you're a lot more scared of the juggle, though, up top.
Oh, Jackie. No, it's not going to be Jackie. It's rather going to be KB getting caught out. Jackie now going to get ruptured up into the Blood Rite, but he is going to be able to survive. That's a nice rotation out from Carl, going after the offlane Bloodseeker. And KP was farming very nicely in that offlane. It's going to be a very worthwhile kill for T1. As now Carl will just happily back off. The rest of T1 will just ensure that Jackie continues to have a very nice time up at this top lane.
Yeah, they're just making sure that the Battle Fury timing is on point. Looks like we might see it within 15 minutes for sure here for Jackie. And he does have some good stacks up. They just need to be aware that their triangle is just constantly invaded by Febi. They need to punish this Enchantress. They've gotten a couple of kills. They have gotten the D-ward off as well. But I'd say the sooner you can clear these stacks, the better, because the Juggernaut can clear it fairly well as well with his spin. And you can even commit the Omni Slash early now if you wanted to.
Nice kill there. Armel and Tim's able to clean up Zephyr. And an immediate smoke out. Now Armel, he doesn't have any Astral Step charges. He might be able to get one by the time they reach an opponent. So they are going to be banking quite a bit on the Avalanche Toss opening of Tim's. And they'd love to find this PA who is very low in terms of mana and HP at the moment. But Jackie, it looks like he is barely going to avoid death as TNC are looking into the mid lane. They were having a look at Carl, but Carl has retreated back down to the bot lane. So instead now, TNC, they spot out some stacks and they will happily take those instead. Not the worst, not the most worthwhile smoke out from TNC, but they get something for their trouble.
Yep, this is still hurting Jackie a lot more, and they invade that tier 1 bot.
Oh.
KP not actually spotted out.
Wow.
So, he saved.
That's kind of insane that they did not spot him out. He is going to be just fine to get out. Now they notice he was there the whole time. And it's just a bit too late, so a nice little sneaky spot there by KB. And while that was happening, mid lane, TNC, they start getting that T1 mid tower pushed in. It is going to be fortified. The siege creep is also going to die. It does make it slightly harder. You can kind of see how confident TNC are around the map right now. They just aren't really afraid of anything from T1. They will just keep occupying this dire jungle.
Yeah, they do have stronger heroes early. They've got this Tiny that's very explosive even without the blink. You've got KP who's just making use of the space really nicely in the hard lanes that are left alone. And Armal's just got this way of jumping in and punishing anyway. So it's forcing T1 to play a lot more safe. They've only got the triangle so far to clear out. You do see Jackie starting to clear some of the ancient stacks, but without a Battle Fury, it's all down to Blur. Once that Blur fades, is going to be a bit vulnerable to taking damage, and you see TNC just constantly shoving the top tier 2. So it forces a response out from T1, and it's just not quite lining up. This is definitely favoring TNC as they control the top jungle and the bot jungle and their own triangle. So many more spots to be efficient with farm, and so much protection here for Gabby. He's just allowed to really build up in this jug.
He is. So is Jackie though, right? Like he's still just roaming around the map, just doing classic Jackie farming stuff, and well, he's one item away from having that Battle Fury up now. They are very, very close in terms of farm, Jackie and Gabby. Dire jungle is still being occupied by TNC, and they are still looking down that mid-tier 1 tower. You have got the enchanted creep there by Febby, so you can just let that tank for you and you can get started on getting a bit more damage out. Whiteman's going to preemptively drop the tombstone, and Carl was moving in for the arena. But Armel is going to be able to dissimulate away from that position. It's going to be just fine. While that's happening, I mean, Gabby just keeps pushing out the top lane as well. So a very aggressive style of farming here from Gabby. Zephyr going to try and go onto the jug, but Spin is going to be there. Still, he'll go for the purge instead. He does have his team coming in to back him up, and without this Spin, Gabby, he might be a sitting duck, but a great avalanche out from Tims. Gabby's still trying to... Ooh. What was that damage? Ooh. How many shadow poisons do they have on the guy? Carl, you'll find another.
Jeez. He took 1,417 magical damage.
Jesus.
Right. Oh, I think he was also... Yeah, he was affected by Soul Catcher. That just burned right through him.
Jackie.
Rather unfortunate.
He's going to be fine. He just TP's away. KP, no way to cancel the TP yet. That was a lot of damage out. I didn't quite see the Shadow Poison stack, so I wasn't aware that that was kind of happening from Zephyr. But boy, oh boy, they just blew Gabby up.
Yep, just a lot of damage coming through. You got to respect the damage on the Shadow Demon. It can really nuke you down. You don't have any stat items here on Gabby. So putting a dent in the jug here, big win for T1, drags that network lead down. They are catching out one big hero here, though.
Yeah, Jackie getting caught with his pants down. Just not going to feel very good for him. Carl still going to come in. A nice spear out. He catches out Armel. And with that, the Purge does come in, though Armel is going to dissimulate. Pops the illusions as well. Shadow Poison, it's only going to be one stack. So he's going to be able to survive through all this damage output. That was a lot committed by T1, and they don't really get much out of it.
Yeah, and they lose their big hero as well. Jackie just too far forward. He does have his Battle Fury up. This is when Jackie should just go back in that jungle, clear out the stacks again. The support should just build up some stacks, and rather awkward pause typing as Cuckoo is alone up top, and you see Gabby, and you've also got Armel freshly TP'd in. Might be looking to reveal this fresh Yule's up for a kill.
Uh-oh. Can Gabby get this kill, though? It's no Phantasm on Cuckoo. He does have the illusion already out, though. Armel is around the corner, so that's definitely going to help. In fact, with Armel there, that probably is going to be more than enough.
There's a creep wave coming in, though. So Omni Slash is not going to be as strong, as it's not too far off. If it stalls out for like a second or two, that creep wave is going to be right inside bounce range. Not going to be very comfy for Gabby. And it's a bit of a risk to take a fight. Like, if you win this fight, you might have your Claymore ready to go very fast and finish up that Battle Fury for Gabby. If you don't win, well, then it's kind of a waste of time. But they have a wave to clear out at least. But we'll see what happens. Seems like some lag issues here. Cuckoo was the one to say that Dota was favored by his ISP. Doesn't look like the case right now, Cuckoo. You know, bit preemptive with your claim there earlier.
Yeah, it definitely was a bit preemptive for sure. I'd say any kind of comment is pretty preemptive when it comes to that specific company. Still, we wait for Cuckoo to be back. Let's reconnect very, very quickly. See if he's ready to go ahead, and yeah, there we go. We are ready to go. Gabby going to move his way in, but yeah, it looks like Cuckoo is going to be able to back, at least for now, as Armel. Aether Remnant not going to land, and that'll pretty much be it. In fact, they don't even find him with the TP out. They did have the Yule Scepter available on Armel, but it's not going to be very useful if you can't see the hero, and Cuckoo, a very nice little blind spot there to be able to TP himself away from danger.
Yeah, just saves himself right in the nick of time, so that wastes Armel's TP a bit, wastes some time on the Void Spirit. You really do want to start finding some more kills with the Yulet's up on Armel. It's going to be itching to find some kills, but so far, just not finding the opportunity. Maybe here on Zephyr.
Zephyr would be nice. They have caught him. Zephyr is going to go for the disruption, but he is in big, big trouble. Just delaying the inevitable there, and KP will take the kill with the Blood Right. On some more, they don't really have the Rupture now, so Whitemon should be just fine to walk away, and so should Jackie as well. Of course, they have the Rod of Atos, but it's probably not going to be enough. And with that, TNC, once again, back into the mid lane, just applying more pressure onto that tier 2 mid tower. And we saw a very similar thing in game 1 with TNC. Just really trying to focus in on making sure someone's always in that mid lane, just trying to defend the tower. And while they do that, of course, they go back to the Dire jungle and take that over. Just kind of allows everyone on the side of TNC to get so much farm in.
Yeah, they're just really efficient on the map. The one boon here for T1 is that Jackie is farming quite well by himself, but Gabby's not too far behind. It's the same story from game 1. You don't have a considerable enough lead on Jackie to really be comfy. And Gabby, he's got his own Battle Fury ready, so he's just going to be keeping pace. You're never going to have an item advantage on that PA.
No, that you are not. Big smoke up now, T1. They want to try and make a team fight happen. This is before they have the Ags on the CK, so it's not going to be as strong as you would like, but he is still able to fight early on, but still TNC now going for a counter smoke. Carl is going to be the one to break it. A blink away from Tim's. KP getting caught out by the Yule Scepter. They get the spear off as well, but a nice toss away from Tim's back into the neutral camp. KP still in big, big trouble. Drops the Blood Right. Has the Rupture as well. He's been purged up. Dissimulators there. KP does eventually die. He does not get the Rupture out. Meanwhile, Armel getting skewered, or rather speared down to the low ground. He had no way out either. They are still going after him. Armel, Rift is not going to be there. Still in trouble. Is going to Resonant Pulse, running away. And now the Omni comes out, Gabby. It's going to be a decent Omni. A very slow kind of attack out. But they can go after Cuckoo now. The Phantasm Illusions are gone. And they will get the CK as well as Whitemon on the Undying. And overall, it looked really bad to start. But TNC, they came out on top again.
Yeah, they're going to be happy enough with finding those kills. They come out on top, keeping Cuckoo down. This CK, the timing into Ags is not going to be as quick as you'd want it to. He's taking the backseat in farm. He's copying the deaths for his team. This opens up a bit of an opportunity as well to shove that top tier 1. They do not have Gabby around in Mordo. It's just Tims and Febby, but Gabby's going to get some space out for his own farm. So overall, still playing in that game plan that TNC loves to do, and they're just going to force T1 to make a play.
Oh, nice blink in from Tims, knowing exactly where Zephyr was, but Fairby can't tank the tier 2 tower hits. Carl's going to come in, should be able to land this spear. Meanwhile, Tims trying to TP away, but he will get punished for this. And poor old Fairby was trying to back up his boy. It does not work out the way they intended. Zephyr does survive, and TNC will lose 2 supports in the process.
Yeah, just good come around from T1. That kind of compensates for what they lost in the last exchange. They do get a bit of a bounce back there. They are still finding steady farm coming through. You can see Gabby was playing a bit aggressive farming in the enemy triangle. But so far it is paying off, as there's no real punishment to stop him, especially once he spins out. So perfectly fine here on TNC's end. They are still waiting for T1 to finish up this Ags on Cuckoo, but they have this Desolator up on Jackie. So he can start melting some heroes if he wants to jump in, get some damage off. The BKB is going to be a lot more important though. And that should be the point where Jackie goes in to fight once the BKB is up. Compare that to the timings that Gabby's going to be doing. He is saving up for a Sanj. Looks like he might go for a SNY build here. Fairly standard, but it does mean you're not going to have a way of getting through that evasion on the PA here.
Well, KB and Fairby trying to move into this high ground, but KB's been caught out by disruption. They aren't going to make the jump in, however. They were a bit afraid that TNC may have been right behind KB, but he was, in fact, only with Fairby. Of course, Gabby came in from the later stages, and Tims was to the north. T1 still being very, very careful, still just trying to buy time for their PA. Jackie just behind Gabby in terms of farm for now.
Oh.
Top lane, Arena has been dropped. Mel going to be in danger, is going to assimilate back up to the high ground, and now the Omni does come out once again from Gabby. It doesn't kill anyone off though. They'll turn back around. Mel is going to die, but Tims jumps in. He kills off Cuckoo on the CK. It's going to be a 1-for-1 as Tims tries to TP away. He will get punished by Jackie, and now they go into Fairby, who's just trying to run, but he will not make it out either. Great team fight out from T1, and TNC maybe just getting a little bit too excited jumping in like that. The Jug is going to take a bit more farm to be as effective as they would have hoped.
Yeah, it's just a slower pace of game for the Jug. You just don't have this early spike with the great crit that you have on the PA. You've also got great durability. SNY is done on Gabby, but he's saving up for that MKB, and that does mean Barosh is set to go for T1. You don't have any heroes up here from TNC to counteract this. They are sort of close by though, so they might still opt to do something here.
They may. On right does
Zephyr.
fly. Oh, Zephyr. Oh, poor old Zephyr. Gabby's just going to stand there like, wait a minute, did that just... I guess it did just happen. Into the Roshan,
Oh,
Gabby.
no.
An early Christmas present for himself. And that is a real disaster for T1. They lose a hero, they lose Roshan, they lose everything, and now they might even lose Jackie. He's been caught out. The Blood Right's there. He can't blink away in time. Oh, it's a disaster out for T1. In fact, Armel's going to jump in now. He has an Aether Remnant in a second. He will not catch out Carl, but instead he goes on to Cuckoo, who does kill off Fairby. Arena's going to be dropped. Carl, a nice spear. In fact, it is only going to be on Armel, who is just fine. They can't follow up with the damage output, and that means Cuckoo is going to die in the CK. So T1, they went from a great team fight into a Roshan to losing Roshan, and then losing a bad team fight. It was, it's a real problem here for this dire side, and now they might even lose Carl. Tims is still going.
Oh.
Avalanche does connect very nicely. He tries to run out the other way, but he's been caught out. KB is there with the Rod of Atos into the Aether Remnant, into the Blood Right. He has help coming in, but Whitemon actually cancelled off the TP. He, I think Carl thought he was safe with the Undying coming in. Maybe a bit of a misclick coming out from Whitemon to cancel that, but... Oh, just a unfortunate series of mistakes being made by T1 is really starting to cost them.
Yeah, it's not looking good anymore. You've got this huge lead on Gabby. He's 3k above Jackie because of those deaths. And I'm not sure if T1's going to have anything to stop this. We've been talking about the CK and the Ags coming through, and you were asking me if they had enough on TNC's end. It looks like we might not even get to see it, as it's still about 1.3 away. 1.3k away for Cuckoo, so he still needs some farm. He doesn't have space in the map to do it. They're giving it all to Jackie. And they're just not able to meet those timings. You've got some good item pickups here from TNC as well. Armel has his own axe. He's got that Resonant Pulse Silence up, and that just gives so much more utility to their Void Spirit. They take a clean tier 2 for free. They still hold on to the Aegis. T1 have to find a way to win these fights. It's been messy for them in the past 2 engagements. Ever since they left Roche, they just bailed way too fast when it was slow, and they should have known it would have been easily invaded by TNC.
Oh, here they come. TNC jumping straight in. It's going to be Whitemon who gets targeted. A nice disruption is there from Zephyr. He will save the day for now. Whitemon will just heal up with the Soul Rip. If we're talking 5v5 team fight right now, I don't necessarily think TNC is going to outright win out the team fight. I still think you are very worried about the Jackie PA in comparison to the Gabby, the Gabby Jug right now. But I dare say,
BKB, though.
Yeah, I dare say once he has the Ags up on the Jug, that's when things get very, very scary.
It does. It does. I think even without the Ags right now, it's still pretty darn nice. Like, he's got the MKB flying through. Jackie needs this BKB, and he needs to use these initial charges very well in the middle of a fight. Even then, it's not necessarily going to keep you too safe, but it does increase your chances. Still, the high ground's being melted, and well, Gabby's got to watch out for the magic damage from Zephyr.
He still has the Aegis, so he is kind of confident here. Eventually, he will back out. That Shadow Poison, it does really do a lot if you get enough stacks up. Still a big smoke out now, TNC. Of course, they did see Jackie down towards the south of the map, so they could rotate that way if they wish. But it looks like the smoke was, in fact, broken by Carl on the Mars. So now Jackie, well aware that they were trying to smoke into himself, and he's just going to go back towards his own base. While the rest of TNC, they'll just continue controlling up the map. They do give the Dire Jungle back the way of T1, but they get the triangle for themselves, which is a bit more valuable. And in fact, they aren't going to give it away for too long either. Armel's going to start roaming through this Dire Jungle, and in fact, he does find out Zephyr. Aether Remnant is going to lock him down. The blood right there with the Rod of Atos. And poor old Zephyr just can't do anything about it. Like now, Carl is going to get run into by Gabby, but he does have the Yules up. He will be able to just use it and get himself to safety immediately.
Yeah, they've stalled out long enough here on T1 to have that BKB up on Jackie. Now the key thing is to use this well, to get their initiation right. They've got the Ags up on Cuckoo. They have used it, but they haven't shown it in a big fight. So they're going to have to get that off next. You do have the tools to start fighting now for T1.
Armel.
It's just a bit difficult.
He's called the CK out. Cuckoo, gotta be cautious. He's been silenced as well. He needs to run, but the Omni is gonna fly out. He gets the Axe ulti off, but Whitemon is not gonna be saved. Oh, KP getting the wrong illusion, and Carl will let him know about it. While that was happening, of course, the Aegis does also expire on Gabby. So they'll back off. They'll get back towards trying to farm up that Aghanim Scepter on Gabby. And for T1, I mean, the PA is looking strong, but nowhere near strong enough.
Yeah, it's just not off to that running start you'd expect. They've been very passive with this fresh BKB on Jackie. Looks like they want to wait for the Basher, maybe even the Abyssal to be done up first. But that is going to be a little bit more time. The map control issue that you've been mentioning is still in play. Look at all the wards here from TNC watching the triangle, watching the entrance ramp in that top jungle as well. Nowhere safe for T1 to roam with, and they do smoke up. They want to actually maybe get a good team fight going. They're going to have the Phantasm back up in about 10 seconds, so this is a good chance to get that off and get a win.
Into the mid lane, Armel would be a massive pick-off to get. And they get the Yule Scepter off. Carl is going to drop the arena and gets the spear. And that should be one dead Armel. And it will be. Carl will return the tip back towards Armel now. Into that mid tier 1 tower they go. Jackie trying to get some damage out. They don't have a creep wave, but it doesn't matter because it is a tier 1 tower. They can slowly but surely just deal with it. That'll be it for T1. They get an objective, they get a kill, they'll get back to farming.
Yeah, just waiting for these key pickups to be done here. Jackie should be a bit more comfy once he's got this basher. He's got a way to keep the jug pinned down. If he does start getting a bit slippery. You also have the BKB up now on Carl, so he's not as worried in the front. He can be a lot more confident in throwing out his arenas and getting the setup for the team for T1. So a few more options in the initiation here. I'd say TNC, they are playing a bit passively, but you have the Ags and Gabby, so more uptime on the DPS for a jug. More ways to deal with the Phantasm spam with just Swift Slash coming through. And they are stalling out long enough that they could probably just wait for the next Roche. We're going to find out in about half a minute when the respawn will be. Once that timer is up, and if it respawns fast enough, TNC could just go for an easier objective first before starting to pierce that high ground.
Outpost going to be taken here by Tims, but Carl is going to interrupt. Febby going to be there to try and be annoying towards Carl, and they are going to be able to get it prior to that 30-minute mark.
Ooh.
So they do deny away the XP from T1. That'll give them a slight XP advantage here on TNC, I believe. In fact, I don't even know why I'm guessing. We can just check, and well, they were already pretty high up there, but it just goes even higher now. T1, they are still just kind of stuck, waiting for their PA to feel like she can fight. TNC, I believe they are probably going to wait out that next Roshan attempt, which should be coming up very soon. It's going to be 2 minutes away. Phantasm? It's popped. Very low cooldown. They can just kind of throw it out like that. It's like Cuckoo's just trying to use it for scouting purposes for now.
Yeah, not much else you can do with it. They do get the basher up on Jackie in the downtime. So with the information out from the illusions, they could maybe make a play, but they are in the low ground, so it's a bit of a risk.
Oh, Febby going to get jumped straight off the bat, but Armel is going to be there trying to just burst down Whitemon. He's going to survive for now as the arena does jump through, but the Omni Slash is there. Zephyr copping so much damage, and Jackie is already dead. Gabby tipping in the middle of this team fight. Carl will just blink up to the high ground and TP out, but Cuckoo has been left behind on the CK, and he is set to die. A triple kill out for Gabby. That was a great little Swift Slash into the Omni Slash, baiting the side of T1 in. You just saw how fast the PA just melted to the damage of Gabby. TNC, John, they're looking very close to going straight through to the grand final. In fact, Tim's trying to jump in, does get used up, but they'll get Whitemon instead of Carl. And that top lane of Barracks is not going to last very long at this rate. In fact, Armel going back in now after the Mars. Resonant Pulse silence. There's your Remnant as well. Gabby going to be there with the spin out, and with the Rod of Atos, they are going to hold him down. Into the mid T1 tower they go, TNC. Trying to find 2 lanes of Barracks, and I believe they are going to be able to get away with this.
Yeah, there's just no defense here from T1. No buybacks. They need their Mars up to really force a fight out. They're probably going to lose all their racks, quite honestly. There's just nothing to stop TNC. Buyback is up on Carl, but this is just ridiculous. Gabby has the shard up as well, so he's got an extra attack from his Blade Fury while he's spinning. Always nice to see these shards being picked up. Respawns are coming in, but I don't know if they have enough damage.
Well, they're going to try. They pop the Phantasm. They go straight onto Gabby. He's getting a lot of damage dealt to him. He's going to be all right for now. He's trying to spin away. They'll jump back onto Jackie, but Jackie is willing to try and man-fight this one out. Meanwhile, Cuckoo also dropping low in that arena. The Blood Ride is going to be very nice, but they get Tims. Cuckoo does also go down. Now Armel being used up. Can he find his way out? He should be able to. He does have the step up. But Carl is going to chase him down. Dagger does actually connect. Mel has another Dissimulate soon. Spear will not latch. Another Astral Step into the TP, and he believes he is out of there, and I would agree with him. A very nice kind of escape there from Mel, and Tims will give him the tip for that.
Yeah, it's still, I'd say, a good last-ditch defense to save their last set of racks. They do find some punishment here on T1.
Ooh.
Whether or not that's enough to shake it off is a different question, yeah?
New item, John. How do you pronounce this? Is it a silent P? Glaney? Or is it Gleipnir? Or Gleipnir?
I don't know how to pronounce stuff like that. I would say Gleipnir because that sounds more fun.
No. Gonna find out Whitemon. Take him out. Now Zephyr trying to fight back. He does have the Aghanim Scepter available on the Shadow Demon. So he's got plenty of those Purge charges. And they desperately need to try and stop this Roshan from going to the way of TNC. That Roshan is going to make it so they can go for the Megas, and in fact they jump back in. It looks like Tim's going straight after Zephyr on that Shadow Demon, does burst him down. Swift Slash is there from Gabby. It's only on illusions, however. Carl going to blink away on the Mars, but the Aether Remnant out from RML, catching out the CK, and this Rod of Atos, is Gleipnir or whatever it is, just flying everywhere from KB. Going to catch out the CK. I believe it does damage now as well, right? 220 damage. After the root comes in. Not too bad.
I'd say it's really darn good. Giving the Atos an upgrade path, more utility down in the game. Always nice to see that scalability. TNC get a clean rush. Have the Aegis cheese now. They can just opt to run their bodies down into that last set of racks. And T1, their options are really limited. They've still got decent farm on Jackie. He's saving up for Divine, but it's not going to be up in time for the defense here.
No, it definitely will not. He's trying to just keep that bot lane pushed out, but TNC, I'm pretty sure, just going to ignore him completely. Spear to get started from Carl will buy them some time. Tim's doesn't get the avalanche he wanted. Gabby. Oh, Jackie jumps in. He wants that Aegis to the Immortal, but Gabby is going to be able to get the Omni off. It's not going to be enough, though, but Gabby, he does eventually get the kill. In for more, Cuckoo. He stuns up the Jug. Can they at least kill off the Aegis? They can. Jackie, he bought back for that. That's the first life. Carl, Spear is going to be nice. Onto the racks. Gabby getting very, very low. Is going to die. Jackie, he gets a double kill. They need more than that, though. After Febby they go. The Enchantress should also be dead, and Jackie will be able to get a triple kill as they go back into the bot lane after KP, who's just trying to man fight this one out, and he almost takes them out. But an ultra kill out for Jackie. And that's going to mean they at least hold on to that final lane of barracks. That's certainly going to be good news for T1.
Yep, they're now really relying on those last set of Rex carrying them through. Gives them a playable lane, gives them some source of gold still in the lanes as well. So Jackie, buy back down in a bit of a risky spot for the next 7 minutes. He is just going to opt to try to buy out that Divine. It's an all-in play now. And all they can hope for is just getting those lucky crits off. If the PA is allowed to do this, though, this is a very scary moment for TNC. And they're going to have to watch themselves here. Some opportunities for T1 to get a couple of objectives. Maybe a tier 2. Doesn't look like they have that much time left, really, to get that done. But taking the Aegis away is already a really big win. Like TNC now, they're going to be a little bit more cautious going into the high ground. They still hold a cheese, but it's not going to be enough. Although Cuckoo?
Yeah, Armel wants to have a crack at Cuckoo. Cuckoo is a bit tanky to take out by himself. Does eventually back off to just come back with his team. TNC just hanging out as 3 in their base. Now that Divine, 1.2k gold away now for Jackie. And like you pointed out, that Divine, it's the Hail Mary play. It's the last option they really have. But it is going to make it a very, very scary game for TNC. It only takes one bad team fight to turn this game around.
Yeah, that's really it. Like, T1's just teetering on the edge. If they find a big win, they might be able to push it all the way back, take a couple of tier 2s, even out the map control, and suddenly they're back in this game. Have to point this out as well. Tim's actually went for the shards. So, Craggy. Craggy's back, baby.
I mean, why not though, right? Like 20% chance that they stun themselves. Yeah. Kind of nice up against the annoying. PA. It is very infuriating to have to play up against. Especially if you are Jackie and you're just trying to kill someone quickly, but then you get stunned for a second. It's not going to feel very nice. Could mean the difference between life and death.
It's something that they've got to be aware of on the side of T1. They are really inching towards that Divine here, Mike. 600 gold off for Jackie, and then I think that's when they start casting the dice and seeing where it lands. TNC, for their part, just invading that jungle once more, taking the outpost right before the 40-minute mark once more. You could expect T1 to maybe invade the bottom outpost in exchange, just to get some EXP going, and maybe get the things out. Whitemon will get started. So starting to even out where they can play on the map here for T1. I was going to say Dota Plus was going to say something, but it says 100% for the side of T1. So,
Dota Plus always knows, John. It always knows. It's been 100% chance this whole game. So, I'm glad I spent my money wisely, John. So, doing a great job. Thank you, Dota Plus. TNC going to keep moving as a unit with this smoke up into the mid lane.
gotta watch out here, Mike. Divine's up and Jackie. So if they get caught behind, that could be a couple of kills going their way in T1.
He's critting for 3k right now. That is a very scary predicament here for TNC, and they do not know about it. Carl actually pops the Minotaur horn for some reason. Might have needed it too, as they look like they are going to engage. Debbie, he's going to bait, although he just gets destroyed by Jackie. Immediate crit out with the tagger. And now they know for sure he's got a Divine Rapier up. They get the Yules up though on Gabby, but he'll spin away. Debbie will buy back. Jump in. Oh, Cuckoo. There's the Craggy Coat we talked about. He gets stunned up, and now the Swift Slash is going to be there. Zephyr with the save, with the disruption, but it is not going to be enough. They've lost the CK, but he will buy back. Now the Omni flies through. Whitemon dropping way too low. Carl's in trouble as well. The Mars, can he survive? It doesn't look like he can, but he gets the spear off in time. It's not going to be enough, though. Still Jackie with the Divine Rapier. He rips Gabby to shreds. Going for more now. The Hail Mary play. Trying to fight by himself with the Rupture toss away. Jackie, he's not dead yet. Armel's trying to find him. He gets bashed up though. Armel needs to find a way out. He's going to try and fight. KP does get the kill. Where's the Divine Rapier? Did Armel get it? Yeah, he did. Armel still going to run away as KP will stick back around to go after Cuckoo. There is no buyback available right now on Jackie nor Cuckoo. And that should be enough to go for the GG push.
Oh, definitely. Armel hits like an absolute truck. 500 damage per right click on our Void Spirit. It was so close. It looked like the PA was going to get it, but when you rely on luck, sometimes the dice just doesn't roll your way.
KP going to just jump straight in. Carl, oh, he would have loved that spear on KP, but it's not going to be there. Very, very close call. And that'll be your first tier 4 tower gone. Baby going to get started on the other. Of course, he doesn't really mind too much if he dies. Now Armel going to jump in, but misses the Aether Remnant. He just wants to buy as much time as possible. The thing is, he is the Divine Rapier carrier, but he's going to go for the dieback onto Whitemon. Still the spear. He's going to come out with the arena. They can't afford to lose this Divine now. Armel dropping low, but not low enough. He's going to be able to dissimulate out, and the Ancient is exposed. They still have 50 seconds without Cuckoo or Jackie. They're going to come back in. Spear is going to be there onto Tim's, but Armel straight into the backlines going after Zephyr. No, it'll be Whitemon going down. That's a dieback. Armel still wanting more. We'll kill off Zephyr on the Shadow Demon. Going back after Carl, but the GG's been called, and we do have our second grand finalist. Woo. It is going to be TNC Predator winning this lower bracket final 2-0, and that does mean they'll go back up to the grand final to play up against Team Dog in a best-of-5 series to decide who does win out BTS Pro Series Season 4.
Yeah, that's a good showing from T1. They go for the Hail Mary play at the end with the Divine. Jackie looked good, but it wasn't enough. And you saw the issues coming out this time. It's always the fact that Jackie's used to be playing from a lead position. You know, he's used to being ahead in farm, but Gabby's the kind of core that can keep up in the same way. His team, TNC, just does the exact same thing as T1, but they had a much more cohesive draft to back Gabby up, and it falls flat for T1. Really well put up fight though, really entertaining matches, but we've got that rematch. Team Dog were the team to knock TNC down here to the lower bracket final. We'll see if TNC has learned something from yesterday and bring some punishment back towards Dog.
Well, with that, John, of course, we do have a very short 10-minute break, and after that break, we are going to move on and see how it all pans out in a BO5. It's MLP johnxfire, and we're very excited to see how this does all pan out for our 4th season of the BTS Pro Series 4, and we'll see you very soon after a short break.